we are now in Italy. Thank you for the big marathon, and thank you to Martina Jeromin to be with us. And and now you are in Italy, right, Martina?
At the moment, I'm in Italy. Yes, Noemi, thank you for inviting me. That's very kind of you. I'm happy to be here.
And thank you for your time and to share with us many things. I heard many things. Would you like to first introduce yourself, and then we all want to know about your school beyond limitation. Just because of this word, this title, I want to know about you.
Yes, School Beyond Limitations. I will tell you all about it if you wish, of course. Well, I'm from Italy. Currently in Italy, I'm an educationalist. I'm working also on research in education. For me, education, as I said to you in our previous, conversation, education is just the most important thing ever, right? It's the most important tool for our society. If we put a lot of effort into, giving our young people the possibility, the space to develop their own essence or bring their own essence into life, then we understand, how important it is when it's based on, understanding, based on, leadership, based on conscious leadership, based on responsibility, based on opportunities and taking opportunities, life opportunities as a possibility to grow and not seeing problems. So, well, I had a dream as a child at the age of 5 years of age. And I knew already at the time that I would create my own school. So, of course, before you
were
start
so young and you knew that?
Yes, I knew that. I knew that it came to me, and I wasn't even at school yet, right? I was just a kindergarten kind at the time, kindergarten child at the time, and it was obvious to me, and I realized already in kindergarten that certain things are conditioning ourselves, and we are not in a situation where we can actually be ourselves all the time. And so I realized I wanted to do something in education. I wanted to create my own school. And in order to do that, you have to go through training, you have to go through lots of different experiences. And of course, my formal training was I have a doctoral degree in pedagogy. I hold a doctoral degree in higher education management and a master in giftedness and the coaching and so forth. And I also, went through all the teaching roles that one can just imagine, from middle school down to primary school, up to secondary school, then further to tertiary education, university lecturing. Then I became a coach, and then I became a principal of a school, head of school in different schools, international schools. I moved from one country to another, not that many like you, Noemi, but still I was traveling around. I realized how important education is, how important, also continuity in education is. I'm also a mother of, in the meantime, a grown-up, human being who has now his own life, of course, but it was always very important to me that, he gets eradicated, rooted roots, and so that he knows and students know who they are. And so, at a few years ago, we created, together with my partner in business, who is an entrepreneur, but at the same time also the mother of a few beautiful daughters, we created School Beyond Limitations. And the School Beyond Limitations is really based on all the wonderful, tools in education that help students develop into those strong, self-directed, conscious, young human beings who don't fear anything in their lives, who develop in a multicultural sensitivity, so that they feel at home more or less everywhere, and they know that life is actually there to be taken into their hands, so that they can create something out of it, and they can also bring a contribution to themselves, to the smaller society, but maybe also to a huger society. And if a student, if a human being, a young human being, I mean, we all know if there is a very big and strong why, you know, we just connect with our innate intrinsic motivation and inspiration, and then things just, you know, develop, it just flourishes, and we just, you know, we don't question anymore. That doesn't mean that we don't develop critical thinking skills. It's not about seeing things just out of, you know, let's say pink and positive lenses. It's actually looking at reality as it is, and seeing reality as a possibility of generating something better, if there is a possibility to generate something better, you know, for the well-being of oneself, but also for the well-being of people next to us, and the yeah, the bigger society, so to say. And that was this driving force, you know, to create School Beyond Limitations, and also to give students, because, you know, it's always a very, you know, stressful experience when families move from one country to the next country. You have to find a new school, you have to find the right school for your child, even if
New
there are,
friends and new everything.
exactly, everything is new. And so we thought, what if you had the possibility to actually having a school that comes along with you, instead of, you know, finding something new all the time. So it's a school that nurtures you until you are ready to say, I'm set free now, I can fly by myself, whether this is, you know, entering university education, or whether this is starting a job, or whether this is, you know, creating your own enterprise, or whether this is just, you know, doing whatever is in alignment with your innate nature. And that's why we created something which is based on very actually, we have three slogan motto words, so to say. It's personalized, so it's really, you know, the syllabus is designed towards the specific goals of the specific respective students. And we
Beautiful.
have very small classes, so our classes are never bigger than just 8 people. They vary between
Wow.
5 to 8, and you can imagine how much you can learn then with
Wow.
from one another, with one another, and they are coached by different experts, right? So, and then it's entrepreneurial, because we establish, you know, I mean, as a child you would never question that there are problems out there, right? As a child you just discover, you just go and you see maybe also risks out there, but you look at them, you know, you're just this kind of explorative mind, right? And this is what we say entrepreneurial means: having a growth mindset, seeing things happen, seeing the possibilities of creating, instead of making yourself dependent on what the media very often tell us, right? There's scarcity out there, scarcity of jobs, scarcity of this and that. We say, no, there's no scarcity out there. Actually, it's abundance. The moment you really allow, you know, get again into this energy of yeah, developing something new again, or not only new, creating something out, you know, out of the old, something different, so that you become conscious that you have the choice. You can decide as a human being whether you want to work as a dependent employee somewhere, which is not bad, and not, you know, we are not judgmental. It's your own decision. Or whether you want to create your own enterprise and maybe create your jobs for other people. So always thinking in the way of surplus, right? What can I do? And if I create jobs for other people, you know, that's a contribution to society. So, and also the vision on what is money? Is it only there for the sake of getting richer myself, or is it there for the sake of just, you know, enriching, you know? And money is a value, and we don't judge it. It's not bad. And so it's entrepreneurial, and it's holistic as well. You know, it's holistic because we say a human being is, academia is important, intellect is important, mind is important, but that's one part of the entire being. And the being is more than just the mind, more than just the intellect. It's the creativity is coming from elsewhere, right? It's the mind is of course important, but it's also, you know, the soul, it's also the body, it's maybe even more than that, right? So anyway, this is just this understanding. We are, let's say, powerful beings, you know, and if a student, a child would never question, a child when they're very young, yeah, very, very young, when they are not yet conditioned, they would never question themselves, right? I mean, they would not, they would look, they would explore, and they would explore themselves, yeah, but they would not say I'm less important than others or vice versa. They would just, you know, it's just uh, a how can I say that, intrinsically innately given to them. It's this insight, this knowing that is actually part of us, right? And that connects us then at the end with one another. And yeah, and we say, let's actually, we don't use this separation approach to things. We don't have subject, you know, we don't schedule our school according to subjects, because we
So
say,
how does it work? Yeah, we would like to know. First, you have kids from different countries, right?
yes, we have different countries.
You are based in UK, but you have different countries together at the same
Yeah,
time,
but you know,
different ages.
from we start around the age of 10, 9, 10, depending on whether they are savvy with technology, and not only with technology, it's more being prepared to actually work online, because our major pillar is online, you know, it's holistic education online, and they meet every day online like they were to go to a physical school. So they really have 3 hours of online learning. But what they do learn is that it's not pre-given by the teachers. It's not the teachers telling them, you have to do this and that because the syllabus actually expects us to do this, you know. It's organically developed syllabus according to the students, you know, interests, the students' knowledge, the students' talents, and what is very, very, you know, how can encouraging, inspiring in my view, not only my view, also in the view of our students and our teacher mentors, is how much expertise is created through the students themselves. And so practically our students, they develop into, let's say, teachers themselves or experts themselves in specific fields, you know. And so the others, students learn from students as well, teachers learn from students as well. And we look at topics. It's project-oriented learning, it's inquiry-based learning. So it's based on specific topics, always of the interest of the students. And then it's developed through the guidance of the teachers, of course, who are, you know, very prepared and experienced teachers, so that students just open up the space towards all the subject areas, right? So that they understand there are subject areas, of course. I can view and look at the topic from a specific angle, but that's just one angle. And if I open up the angles, then I realize that all the subject areas, they come into place. And so they understand, okay, this is biology. I am looking now at this topic from the biological, you know, from my biology point of view, but I can also look at it from an artistic point of view. I can also look at it from a literature-based point of view, you know, or, you know, and so they develop this understanding. It's all interconnected. It's transdisciplinary. It's, and they develop also this kind of presentation skills. They develop the communication skills. And you know, and they develop this understanding. Learning is a lifelong experience. It's not, they don't learn only while they are sitting together in the classroom context. They take their learning then afterwards into their homes, into their free time, into their, you know, so that they grasp this understanding. Learning is taking place anytime and everywhere, and it's a lifelong process, and they are connected with one another. So they still, you know, group with one another in the afternoon, or they have mentor sessions in the afternoon. So it's very, yeah, it's very much based on on their drive for learning. And if somebody were then to really say, well, I'm pursuing the goal of studying at Oxford such and such subjects, you know, then we prepare them for that syllabus, right? Of course. But you know, it's completely a different energy then, because then it's the student seeing a goal ahead of him or her and saying, okay, I'm doing this now because my intention is to get there as well. And then they see it also much more interconnected. It's not only just a ticking off of you know, of examinations. However, in our school, there's no it's not based on grading, so we don't grade our students. We give continuous feedback, of course, and the students themselves
he wants to
yes.
sleep when there is very small.
Yeah, sure. And the students themselves, they, you know, they learn very well how to be self-reflective, to, you know, on the basis of lots of different modalities. So that's also something they learn through the guidance by their teachers, right? So yeah, from that point of view, it's very innovative, and it's very yeah, it's very different, let's say, from many other online schools who actually offer online courses, right, according to the different subject areas. And we have just abolished subject areas, and we have abolished separation regarding age diversity. We put them, and this is fascinating to see, because also Sir Ken Robinson always said, you know, it's actually really strange, you know, that, and it's nonsense, because in real life we don't have just, you know, friends and co-workers of the same age. We work together with people from so many different age levels. We have friends from so many different age levels, right? And in school, suddenly, and by saying that, I don't want to say that peers of the same age don't have any value. Don't get me wrong, because that's also, you know, that's also a value, and we encourage that to happen. We also tell students, you know, you have an outside of this context, you can also take part in soccer, you know, in soccer lessons or sports activities, or you can, you know, you can meet with like-minded people or age, you know, related people. But it's actually nonsense. And what our experience is that the students, they nourish and nurture one another so much. All the students tend to say, wow, I learned so much with regards to communication skills. Because if I want to, you know, present something to younger student, then I have to think about the psychology and the developmental state of that younger student. And, you know, it's not easy for them. So they realize this is, you know, so important for as a life skill, to understand how can I adjust my communication skills to the different levels. And the younger students, of course, very often they get very inspired by the older students, you know.
It's
You can
so
imagine.
pedagogical. It's so beautiful.
Yeah.
And I'm sure many parents are going to ask if there is a way to get an exam or something at the end of the cycles. I think by law there is something like free exam you can apply in England.
Well, you know, in England, first of all, there in Europe, in the first place, there are many different, you know, measures in the diverse countries. So it's very, very diverse. And I would have in England, we prepare our students for English diplomas. You know, for the British diplomas, we prepare them for the IGCSEs and for the A levels. However, we also work now very closely with a German, not sister school, partner school. And we also help our German speaking students, although our language of instruction is English, we help them get prepared also for the German diplomas. And of course, the same applies to those countries where they need to sit an end of year exam, you know. But there are also many countries where that's not the case. I mean, in England, you don't have to sit an end of year exam. You know, it's
In England,
homeschooling.
sorry.
In England, you don't have to sit an end of year exam. You have to sit the IGCSEs, you have to sit the A levels, right? Depending on where you want to pursue your studies or your own professional path thereafter. But there are countries where you have to adhere to somehow to the syllabus of the country, which we do, you know. So we look, of course, you know, when we coach students, we look in the first place that they are, you know, catered for their personal, you know, interests in the first place. But we also see, you know, we know our teacher mentors, they know, and we know exactly what the requirement of the diverse systems are, right? And with regards to that, of course, we prepare the students accordingly, right? And at the moment, there is a strong collaboration with a German partner school, where our German students who are enrolled in Germany have to do certain, throughout the school year, certain tests in order to be in line with the German jurisdiction with regards to the educational system. Yeah, but this is what we are.
And I think more and more in the future it will be more flexible, and that we will have easy norms around the world, because as
well, this is
now,
yeah, I believe,
especially
because
after this year 2020.
Yeah, this is what you know, there is a call for sure by many parents, but not only by parents. In the meantime, many strong associations, like in Taiwan, I know, you know, the president of the school homeschooling movement, and he's been able to already establish, you know, this collaboration with the government. And you know, there are, and in the US, in the meantime, and also in Taiwan, from what I have learned by talking to the president of the homeschooling movement, he said it's now possible also to enter, you know, university without this official secondary school degree. You can enter it. Of course, you have to do an entrance, you know, admission exam, but that's possible. Everything is possible if a student is motivated, you know. Then you will get there. That's not a problem at all.
Yeah, I heard that most of the university, they have their admission exam and they don't ask for previous diploma.
Yeah, exactly.
Whatever.
Exactly. In the US, they are starting doing that
by
more
law,
and more.
they can do that.
Yeah.
Great. Anyhow, we will have our own university too. We are thinking
Yeah, excellent.
Beautiful.
You know what, I really believe a lot of everything is in a flux right now, and you know, certain changes will just have to fall into place. You know, it may not come from one day to the next day, but I think the young generation, if I, you know, see the young generation come into, you know, act in this reality, how many of them just, you know, it's just a given that they are asking for something different. And they are asking, not only asking, they are doing also something different. And when you give them the power, you know, then they become so rooted in themselves that it's so beautiful to see what they are capable of doing. And I'm a very strong believer in the young generation, because I think the young generation, like, you know, and if you keep being a young spirit, even if you are not young generation anymore, I think, and you belong to such people for sure as well, Noemi, because otherwise you wouldn't be doing these things, right? For sure. And all the people who are working alongside you, you know, these are people with a young and a very fresh spirit who just know, like, you know, Mahatma Gandhi, you were talking before about Mahatma Gandhi schools, right? Or Nelson Mandela, or, you know, Martin Luther King. These are all, you know, inspirational, who just believed in the power of values such as, you know, education, peace, appreciation of the diversity, right? And appreciation of what each person brings to the table. Yeah. This is a cute kitten.
Yeah, but he wants to be on TV. He wants to sleep. He's small, and
Yeah.
I don't know. I need class on
This
cats.
kitten wants to talk about education. You see, it doesn't
Yeah.
even stop there.
No, there is some classes now. It's called telepathy with animals and with cats, and it works, but it doesn't. I have to improve my skills.
I think the kitten is just wants your company and
Yeah, because
feels safe.
it lost its mom a few days ago, so it's still kind of
Yeah, sure. You
looking
see,
for
yeah.
mommy.
And you know, and this is a nice metaphor actually for School Beyond Limitations, you know, intention. It's giving this continuity, this certainty to young people. The school context is with you. The teachers are with you. The peers are with you, you know, and you are embedded in a community that cares about you as much as you care about the community.
Yeah, that's you open a new spirit for education and for schooling, and it's just by saying beyond limitations. Yeah, you open it. It's like a portal, definitely. And I can see with that new leadership, peace culture, new economy, ecology, everything will just flip over and raise up.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yes, I believe so too. And as I said, I don't only have hope, I have faith. I just have faith in young people and the young generation, that they, you know, and young spirited people who do not see limitations, who actually always think critically, you know, are these limitations just, you know, do I see them as limitations, or what else is possible there? Maybe I just didn't think of possibilities because I just looked at it from a specific angle, you know, without putting into consideration other you know, aspects. And anything, you know, I can twist anything if I want to, and if there's the willingness, and if there is the, you know, if there is the inner strength at the end of the day, because it's about this inner power, right? I just had a talk today with a close friend of mine, you know, who is more, you know, embedded in the system, and she was saying, but you know, you can't do this, you know, because of the system, because, you know, once you are in this system, you have to go with the system. And then I said, but what if it were not true? That doesn't mean that I don't respect people. It's not about not respecting. It's not about being aggressive or so, but it's just asking different questions at time. What if that were not true? What if you could look at the system differently, you know? What if you, and that's why we also created School Beyond Limitations, because we had a number of people who said, well, you can't do that, right? How can you do that? Did you have to, and of course, you know, you talk to so many people, you talk to lawyers, you talk to, you know, policymakers, you talk to politicians, you talk to entrepreneurs, you talk to possible funds, sponsors, donators, and stuff like that, you know, and many other people. And, you know, and there are always lots of, you know, question marks, but this is too risky, this is too that, and this is too this. But what if that were not be the case? What if you just started, you know, and did it step by step? And then, of course, you know, it's always, you start small. But if I already before overthink everything, you know, I can overthink everything. And if I start to overthink everything, then I become paralyzed, because then I say, well, I can't do this, you know. and with my partner, it's just the two of us to start with. How can I do that, you know? So this is, and I think it's just, and this is also what we want to, you know, transfer to our students, so that they say, that they see it's possibilities out there, you know. Let's not, the coronavirus pandemic, right? Everyone, you know, if we just listen to the news on a daily basis, we get paralyzed because we say, you know, I can't do anything anymore, you know. But if we look at things, and by saying that, I don't want to say, you know, we do not take this seriously. Of course you take it seriously, you know, but you know, you underpin everything you're doing with clear data, but with data from different sources, not only from one source, you know. And then you look at what is possible out of this energy. And, you know, if you look then what new wonderful experiences have been created, you know. And we started our school before the pandemic, but during the pandemic we were becoming so popular, right? Because people said, well, you don't stop you know, schooling, you just continue. And even and we actually prepared also our students from an emotional point of view, right? Because if you're in the lockdown,
very nice.
so it's this kind of grounding,
I'm sure many people will ask for your email and connection. You will allow us to send everybody your email?
Of course, yeah, it's Martina at school-beyond-limitations.com. And we also have a website.
Can you link in the chat, and we will put down.
Of course, it's.
And what about your final message to parents? Because I'm sure many parents are opening up their ears right now saying, oh, this is possible, and they do it and they have so nice results. What would you tell them?
Well, I would tell them it's beautiful. Education, you know, going to school in such a setting is just beautiful, because you just see, you know, how engaged the students are. And when I see that students, you know, after school, they are connected, they send one another, you know, respective ideas or how far they went, you know. So this is the message: learning is beautiful, and learning, and your child, listen to your child, listen to what they tell you. Don't tell them that they have to stay in a system where they are miserable. You know, there's the possibility out there to actually change that. And we have a number of examples, you know, where students really didn't want to go to school anymore. You know, they were just so completely full of suffering. They started, they stopped talking. We had one case where the student didn't talk anymore. And only after 1 week with us, you know, he wouldn't be able to go to, you know, to the shop, to the waiter, for instance, in the bar or in the restaurant to order something at the age of 12, because he was just paralyzed, you know. And just after 1 week that changed, you know, and the parents were saying, it's so, this burden has fallen away from us, you know. And just the other day, it's, you know, this is a family who's been with us now for, we are very new. It's the second official year that we are on the market. It's the second year they have been with us from the nearly beginning. And she was leaving a message to me, and she said, gosh, you know, I'm just so happy because they are so happy, and I see how relaxed they are and how well they have also developed their language skills, you know, because we don't only take students whose English is already at the proficiency level. Sometimes they only need, let's say, requirement. One of the requirements, a strong requirement, is that the student wants to learn English, right? That they really say, wow, that's something I really long for. But then everything is possible. We had students who learned English quite well. I don't want to say yet proficient, but they were able to converse in English with nearly know English, just basic English, after 6 weeks, you know. So they
Wow.
were starting already to converse, and yeah, yeah, because it's just integrated in the system. It's not this kind of, you know, yeah, of course it's staggered also in and scaffolded for the students, so that, but it's more this kind of, because we put them together with, you know, very proficient and highly yeah, yeah, whose competencies are already at a very good level. So and then of course they, you know, they are inspired and they want to be in the same boat.
In the same boat. Thank you so much for your time. We keep in touch, definitely. And
Absolutely.
I'm sure many parents are listening to us right now, and full of strength again and hope, and with a lot of energy to start many things.
Thank you, Noemi.
Take
Thank
care.
you. Bye.
Thank you
Bye.
so much for your time, and thank you for being with this huge, crazy quantum marathon. Bye-bye.
Bye.